Whatsoever is right is just, and whatever is just is right. I could go through the Bible and show you where God demands justice in our business dealings. We're to have just weights and just measures. I can show you in the Bible where God demands justice in the courtroom situation. God tells us that His Word is to reign, and there is to be absolute justice given and dictated by the Word of God. But what we do today is we are uninterested in justice. We just sit back. We think that as long as it does not affect us, as long as it does not bother us, everything is okay. We have failed to realize that whatever a wicked, tyrannical government can do to other people, it can do to us. When the rights of other people are abused, it means our rights can likewise be abused. When others have their rights taken from them, it means that our rights likewise can be taken from us as well. Let me read to you from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 22, what God says. Listen carefully as I read verses 15 and 16. Jeremiah chapter 22, beginning there with verse 15. God says, "Shalt thou reign because thou closest thyself in cedar? Did not thy father eat and drink and do judgment and justice? And then it was well with him. He judged the cause of the poor and needy. Then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, saith the Lord?" Did you hear what God said? Was not this to know me? What was to know God? To know God was to do justice, to do judgment. You see, beloved, in Isaiah 59, one of the charges God places against us is this, that there is none that crieth for justice. You say, but Pastor Weaver, I certainly can't straighten out the Congress. I can't straighten out the Supreme Court. I can't straighten out the President. No, you may not be able to. But if you're a Christian, you can certainly pray to one who can. Let me share with you Luke chapter 18. In that passage, Jesus Christ is teaching perseverance in prayer. And listen, if you would, what He says about this widow. Luke chapter 18, verse 2, saying, "There was in a city a judge who feared not God nor regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, Avenge me and mine adversary. And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, Though I fear not God nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me." Now, I want you to note, this unjust judge could care less about God. He could care less about justice or judgment. But his attitude was this: I'm going to give this woman justice just to get her off my back, just to get her out of my hair. I don't care about God, I don't care about man, but I'll do what she wants just to get rid of her. Now listen to what Jesus Christ said. Jesus said, hear what the unjust judge said. "And shall not God avenge His own elect, who cry day and night unto Him, though He bear long with them? I tell you that He will avenge them speedily." Did you hear that? "And shall not God avenge His own elect, who cry day and night unto Him? I tell you," said Jesus, "He will avenge them speedily." Question: have you been crying to God for justice? Have you been crying for God to overthrow the wicked and establish the righteous? Have you been crying for God to do that which is right in our land? God says if we, His people, will cry for justice, that He will hear us speedily. You see, the slave is uninterested in justice. The slave is uninterested in principle. The slave is uninterested in liberty. The slave only thinks in terms of himself. The man who does not care for justice exhibits a slave mentality. Secondly, in the book of Judges, chapter 15 and verse 11, the Bible reveals to us that a slave mentality is a mentality that is concerned only with personal comfort. Do you remember in verse 11 now, where the Judahites said to Samson, what is this that thou hast done unto us? Well, Samson had not done anything to those Judahites, but they were viewing any action that disturbed their comfort, that disturbed their safety, as an assault upon them. They were not only not interested in justice, they were only interested in their personal comfort. You see, that's the way it has always been. In Exodus chapter 5, when God sent the people to deliver, sent Moses to deliver the people out of Egypt, he said, I'm come. God sent me down here. And he told Pharaoh, let my people go. And Pharaoh says, I know not the Lord, neither will I let Israel go. He went to the elders and he said, God sent me down here to deliver you. And so the elders went to Pharaoh in Exodus chapter 5 and said, let us go. And Pharaoh says, oh, no. You're idle, you're idle. You make the same number of bricks, but you make them without straw. And if you don't, then we're going to beat you. When those elders came from the presence of Pharaoh, they saw Moses and Aaron standing in the way, and they said, the Lord look upon us and judge, because you have made our Savior to be abhorred, to be hated in the eyes of Pharaoh, to put a sword in his hand to slay us. In other words, they said, Moses, God judge between you and us. You haven't delivered us. The only thing you've done is make things worse for us. Now God judge between you and us. You see, they were only interested in their comfort. What they were saying to Moses was this: before you came here, we were comfortable, but now it's going to be rough upon us. It's absolutely amazing that we have become a generation of people who are only interested in convenience and comfort. We will cry out against socialism, but we will take every benefit that a welfare state can give us. We will cry out against tyranny, but we're first to get the food stamps and to get all the government subsidies and all the government handouts. We want all the recreational privileges that a welfare government can give us, because we're more interested in comfort than we are truth and principle. Thank God our forefathers were not like that. If our forefathers had been like us, there would never be an America. You say, what are you talking about? Well, let me read a paragraph from a document that you should be familiar with. This document is known as the Declaration of Independence. Listen carefully. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude, that is, for the justice of our intentions, do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, and that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have the full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts which independent states of a right may do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance upon the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Now, those 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence not only put their wealth, their property, their honor, but even their lives on the line. Do you realize that those 56 men were maligned? They were hated. They were lied about. They were slandered. They had their goods confiscated. They lost their homes. Many of them lost their lives. I'm so thankful today that our forefathers were interested in justice, and that they were not interested in their own comfort or their own safety. They literally laid their lives on the line. Now listen to me, folks. A slave is only interested in making his slavery as comfortable as possible. He does not think in terms of freedom. He does not think in terms of justice. He does not think in terms of principle. He only thinks